What's up, teammates? Welcome to the Gold Diggers Youth, where we discuss stories of leadership and motivation using sports as a metaphor, dedicated to daily grinders, go-getters, and everyday athletes. I'm Robbie De Vera.
And I am Zanala Baharias, and we are your resident gold diggers. Last week, we had the fearless Filipino ninja, Kaizen de la Serna, with us, and she shared all about finding balance, exploring new things, and overcoming obstacles. So if you haven't watched it yet, you still have time to go back. Be sure to check out our Facebook page, Spotify, and YouTube channel.
Now, with us today, we have a fresh graduate of Ateneo de Manila University, who is a two-time UAAP champion, two-time MVP, and four-time best striker. He now plays for the Azkals development team and was recently recognized with the Golden Boot Award during the Copa Paulino Alcantara held last November 2021. Gold Diggers, let's all welcome Philippine football phenom Jarvey Gayoso.
Hey guys, thank you
Hi,
very much for
Harvey.
having me.
Yes, and thank you for being with us. We're so touched and incredibly honored to have you with us today. Harvey, you have just graduated, and you have achieved all of these feats as a student. But right now, I want to ask, what have you been up to lately? What have you been doing?
So after the semifinals of the Paulino Alcantara Cup, sadly I pulled my hamstring. I tore it actually, and then these past weeks I've been doing my rehab. I've been doing progressive gym rehabilitation just in order to get myself back there, being able to play again. I'm looking towards playing and signing for a different club and being able to play outside of the country. So I have to get myself ready for it.
Sounds like you're really busy, and we wish you the best of luck and hope you get well soon. But before we deep dive into our discussion, in the program, we love who you are and what you do, but let's help refresh our audience's memory of who Jarvey Gayoso is. So, Jarvey, can you tell us something about yourself?
My name is Jarvey Gayoso, and I graduated from Ateneo de Manila University. I played for the Ateneo men's football team. Before that, I played with the Ateneo juniors football team. I played with the men's football team for 4 years, and then I got my first Azkals call-up in 2018, and then I continued to play for the Azkals development team right after graduating. I still am. Well, I currently finished the Copa Paulino Alcantara Cup that ended a few weeks back. I'm playing with Azkals development team, and then I'm looking forward to the road ahead, the opportunities that are coming, that have come also.
That's great, man. So you're known as the football phenom by the Ateneo community, but you weren't always at the top of your game. So can you tell us what your first few years in the Ateneo as a student athlete were like?
So I actually started playing with the juniors football team in my second year of high school. I entered Ateneo High School under probation. I didn't pass the Ateneo entrance exam for high schoolers, and it was a big adjustment for me because I am based here in Laguna, and I had to live away from my family in QC, and academically the standards were very different. I was not accustomed to the standards of Ateneo, and it was a big adjustment that I had to make. I actually failed my first year high school, and it took me a while to be able to adjust. I was given an opportunity to repeat in Ateneo High School, and I took that as a challenge. I wanted to be able to represent Ateneo. It was actually a big discussion my dad and I had when I was given the choice to either repeat in Ateneo or pass outside of Ateneo. And it was a big dream of my father that I played with Ateneo, and I graduated with an Ateneo diploma, and that kind of changed the way I looked at my responsibilities, not only as an athlete but also a student. And being barred from playing football because of my academic deficiencies was a big struggle, and that's kind of what pushed me towards focusing on my academics, is because my studies basically gave me the opportunity to play football, and I wouldn't be able to play football without it. So my passion for football kind of pushed me towards adjusting my mentality and focusing on academics first in order to be able to play football.
That's great. Thank you for your honesty. We appreciate that. And us athletes, we can sort of relate to like what you went through. And for such a young person, those were really tough circumstances for you. And we can only imagine what that was like. But how did you manage those times?
I definitely had a lot of help from my family. They gave me every opportunity to learn the way to study in Ateneo, to adjust to the curriculum, to adjust to the standards of Ateneo. I had multiple tutors. I had to stop everything in terms of playing for Ateneo, playing with representing the school basically, and I just had to focus on my studies. It was actually pretty fun, or it was actually pretty good that I was young back then and I didn't really need to push myself in terms of the skills, because whenever I'd come and play football, I was still very energetic. Like I felt like I wasn't getting tired at all. So being able to just focus on my academics was the biggest priority at that time, and eventually I got the rhythm. I adjusted properly, and it was somewhat smoother sailing after that.
So, a lot of this, with the story that you said, this is something that for you, a young person, you had to go through this. And this isn't something that's easy to go through. And so I want to ask, how did this challenge affect you?
It changed the way that I prioritized my academics, definitely. Coming from my failure, my dad and I had this big conversation in the car, and it was always, he told me that it was his dream of his that I graduate with the Ateneo diploma, and it was only in my second year that I was able to start playing football. When I received that offer from Ateneo to either repeat or to pass outside of Ateneo, definitely the intention was to stay, in order for me to pursue not only his dream, of course, my dream as well, and my family's dream, being the first generation Ateneo student. It took a lot of help from my family for me to be able to adjust to the standards of Ateneo, and eventually it became a standard in my lifestyle to start focusing on academics, not just football. It was a big step from how I was in grade school to high school, because in grade school I wasn't really focused on my academics. I just play, and I wouldn't really study for my exams, unlike in Ateneo and in high school, where I actually need to focus. And that focus and that perseverance to start studying and to focus on my academics was brought about by my passion for football, because I couldn't play. I knew that I couldn't play. Even if I felt that I was good enough and capable to actually play for the team, it wouldn't happen unless I started passing my classes and I started passing my subjects. And that pushed me towards being able to study, being able to focus on studying, and eventually making it a standard in my lifestyle to be able to study properly and at the same time play football.
That's great, because there's sort of a marriage between both your passions, especially your passion for football. And I will say that for success here, you're defining it as being able to, success is never defined by whether you failed once. It's defined by whether you gave up. And you were able to succeed in this, academic success, and you were able to bring this forward through college. So can you bring us through that?
So the first goal that me and my family achieved was basically graduating Ateneo High School, and it was a different story to enter college, because you're exposed to a different environment. You're exposed to different people. Coming from the old Ateneo, you're exposed to girls. There are a lot of I wouldn't say distractions, but there were a lot of factors that could influence you to stray away from focusing on your academics, and of course also stray away from focusing on your sport, basically for me, football. And it was a point of pride for me that being known as a student athlete, that I wanted to actually not only get into Ateneo but pass under my first choice of course that I chose in college. And I didn't want to take I didn't want to take any special test. I didn't want to pass under consideration. I didn't want to pass under probation. I wanted to make a statement, not to anybody else, but to just me and my family. I just wanted to show them that they've actually set me up and they've molded me to this person that they can rely on to just focus on my own instead of having to be too hands-on with me as they were when I was in high school. And I passed. I got my first choice, and I was able to play with for the men's football team in my very first year of college, and it continued on for the next 3 years.
You know what? I was just listening to the story, and I think one of the things that is very important here as well is that you were given an agency by which to learn all of these, and you learned from that. And also, just want to say you made that statement well. The statement that you wished to make, it's a statement that you were able to make very well. And for me now, with everything that you said, what I get here is definitely the essence of having a goal. And for you, that goal was your love for football. And for a lot of people now watching, we have a lot of goals that we want to do, but there are times when there are, like for you, for instance, right, there are ways in which we want to achieve that goal na ayaw natin gawin, like the things that we don't want to do. And you went through that. It wasn't an easy journey, but you were able to get what you wanted because you had that goal.
Sir Robbie would definitely understand all the sacrifices you have to make as an athlete. Being part of the men's football team, we'd miss a lot of family events. We'd miss a lot of outings with blockmates. Getting to know a lot of your friends in college, and not being able to join your classmates or your barcadas, but mostly your friends. Not being able to be with them. Even sacrificing holidays, not being able to come home to your families, not being able to join them on trips abroad because you have to stay for training. It's a different experience to be a student athlete, but at the same time, you develop a lot of relationships with your teammates. You develop a lot of bonds, and basically a lot of moments that you go through together. There were times when the dormers who were part of the team we would stay in the dorm alone during Christmas break because we'd have to until the 23rd. Basically, those things wherein you'd really have to focus, but at the same time, academics was never gone. I remember I think it was the semifinals, AJ and I, we were sitting by the stands of McKinley Hill at 6 a.m. Right before our training at 7. We were doing our papers. We were still looking through our laptops, and then we'd close it right before Coach JP would whistle. So, there's just basically a lot of sacrifices and compartmentalizing when it comes to being a student athlete.
Yeah, I totally get that, and it's a real commitment. No, it's no joke to try to live two lives, one as a student and one as an athlete. Especially if the stakes are so high, right? Both academically and with the sport. Now, I mean, you've mentioned a lot of life lessons so far, and in order for us to help, the non-athletes who are listening to us right now, what's the tip there from what you've learned from what you've mentioned so far?
One tip that I've learned is being comfortable doing what makes you uncomfortable. It's pushing past what you feel is just in part of your safer space. Because I didn't like to study, and my passion for football pushed me towards studying. It was not. I'm not the strongest in terms of academics. I'm not the smartest, but I got by. I pushed through it. I definitely say that it was more hard work than it is intelligence that I have. So basically, that's one tip that I definitely learned from my experience.
Thank you for your honesty and for your modesty as well, right? Because it's no easy feat trying to accomplish both. So what I like from what you said is definitely sometimes you have to do things that will be uncomfortable for you to achieve that goal, right? So and something that I also noticed from how Jarvey talks, how Jarvey speaks is he always mentions we. right? I mean, it's not his own endeavor, it's his and his family's endeavors. That's really admirable.
Ang sabi nga nila, sir, what they say is that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and I think that there's a recognition of that essence of a support system of we, of someone we can lean on. And Harvey, you've talked about all these struggles. Definitely not easy to have to go through. You persevered. Like, now we see you succeeding. You are flourishing in your love for football. You managed to win your first championship with the team, which made you famous. This is like, it catapulted you into fame. So I want to ask you, as someone who has experienced this fame, what was it like having heightened attention after your first team title?
So actually, there was a lot of pressure that I had to deal with coming into the men's football team. So it really began the year that I entered my freshman year. A lot of people expected a lot from me, and it came to a point where Coach JP had to sit me out for one game and let me understand who I was as a player, because I feel like the pressure kind of got to me in such a way that I felt like I was someone when I wasn't anyone yet. And it humbled me. It definitely humbled me, and it made me understand my role as a player and as a freshman, as a rookie. And that helped me push, especially after that first year when we got into the finals and we lost. Come the second year, that was more of a redemption year. We understood that we could actually make to the finals. And given that we were a lot more cohesive as a team, and we all had the same goal, we kind of pushed ourselves to becoming what we have achieved. We're basically champions.
That's great. I also want to ask, because of that pressure, right? How were you able to overcome that pressure from other people?
I had a lot of help. I had a big support system with my family, and my teammates were there through everything. I remember there was one time we had a game where I was being called out by the crowd, overrated. They were calling me out as overrated, and truth be told, I didn't really hear it, but my teammates did, and they didn't let me know because they knew that being at such a young age, that was our second year, I think, or third year. Being at such a young age, I wouldn't really know how to take it because it was the first time I was actually taking banter from crowds. And I was lucky that I wasn't able to hear it. But knowing that after that game, knowing that actually happened, kind of pushed our teammates to actually work harder. And it was definitely humbling to receive that, because they don't just yell that to anybody, right? But at the same time, it was definitely motivation for me. So I dealt with pressure by basically just turning it into motivation. I didn't really think about it too much, and I basically translated my passion for football with the way that I dealt with these situations. So I just kept playing. I didn't really think about it too much. I kept doing what I did, and I kept doing what I had to do for the team, and that's what happened. We won that second year.
Yeah, and you realize now, when you're chasing all these dreams, chasing all the things that you want, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. It's sometimes you have to go through things. And I kind of want to delve deeper into, can you tell us about UAAP season 79 and 80, where the team proceeded to win the championship and then fell a little bit short?
So it was actually a big roller coaster ride for the entire team, especially my batch, the batch ahead of me, and the batch before me. So we won season 79 thinking we were the kings of the world, and it bit us in the butt immediately come season 80, because we thought that we were there. And I remember my uncle telling me that it's harder to defend a championship than winning one, and that definitely changed us come season 81. We were too relaxed. We were too confident with ourselves. We felt like we were untouchable, basically, because we didn't really lose much players from season 79. So season 80 we thought was just going to be the same thing, just a rewrite of season 79. but it wasn't, and we had to learn it the hard way. We lost a lot of games. We lost in the semifinals, and it was crushing because we had to sit there in the finals, watch the finals game between UST and UP, and receive that third place trophy. So it was a big blow for us. But we took it as a big wake up call, and we definitely woke up come season 81. We were hungrier than ever. We were more motivated. We had the right people in the steering wheel. We had Jay Rocha and Julian Rojas guiding the entire team to the finals and to winning it, season 81. I think season 81 finals was basically a testament to the mindset we had throughout the season. We were down in the 77th minute, and we came back by the last minute of extra time, and we pushed forward after that and won it. So that's basically it.
It's nice that you talk also about how difficult it is to defend the championship, and there are sometimes when we talk about changing stuff within the team, within ourselves, it's usually a function of external factors. And for you, it was when you fell short during that season. Can you tell us when exactly the team realized that something had to change?
It was the very first game of our season 81 championship. The very first game of our season 81 competition. So we lost our very first game against University of the East, and I remember feeling so bad. I remember the entire team feeling so bad about it. We couldn't accept the fact that we lost our very first game and we had to start from the bottom. Coming off of that third place finish from the previous season, it was just difficult for us to handle. But at the same time, our captains and of course with Coach JP as well, he cultivated this environment for us wherein we were able to speak out what we thought could help. Basically, we'd have a lot of objective criticism towards what went wrong and how we were able to fix it and all that. And it was nice because after that game, we didn't even leave the stadium. We didn't even leave the field. We moved to the side near the Blue Eagle gym, and then we stayed there. We watched the game after us, and then we just talked about what was wrong and what we needed to do to fix this and all that stuff. And we were just so unified with accepting all the things that were wrong about our game, and then we were accepting about it, and we were motivated to actually fix it, and then start ourselves and getting going. And that's actually what happened. Come the next games, we started scoring more goals, and we started winning by bigger margins. So it was a good opportunity. It was a good thing that we had that long talk after that game.
Yeah, I like what you said, no? And what I picked up from what you discussed even prior to that is that you're only. It said a lot, but you're only as good as your last game. I mean, it's quite cliche-ish, but I mean, it's very true, right?
Yeah.
And then what I also appreciate is that the team actually had that self-awareness to help, self-evaluate the situation after that loss. Now, maybe just to make it more relatable again to our audience, what's the learning there?
So basically, we needed that loss. It was different. It was hard for us to accept that we weren't good enough, and that loss helped us open our eyes. Basically, we needed that loss for us to learn that we needed to fix something, that we weren't good enough, that we needed to push harder. And we call ourselves the Wolf Pack because we're pack hunters basically, and we like to always tell ourselves that we must be hungrier in the next game. We must always be hungrier in the next game than our last one, and that definitely pushed us towards becoming stronger, trying to finish stronger, and trying to just get better each and every game.
It's great that you mentioned this now, and I think that one of the most important things that what I get here from your incredible anecdotes as well is firstly that sometimes you have to go through things that may not feel comfortable for you to be able to recognize that, oh, I need to evaluate myself. So loss is necessary, and I think that that's very important to highlight here. I also got here the concept of becoming, of that necessary concept of wanting to do better, because we don't want to settle. We, in your words, you want to get hungrier with every game, with every season. And lastly, I also recognize here and realize, I want to underscore this, that sometimes the actions of the individual is very much defined by the collective, because again, there's another highlight here where you say we, as a team, and as a team you were able to do that. You were aware, that you had to evaluate yourselves, and so individually you guys were also able to react to that.
I definitely don't think that this is my success story. Every achievement that I've had has always been the success of a collective. I couldn't be here. Starting from Ateneo, pushing me towards or allowing me to be able to study again. That was a big thing that they actually allowed me to do. And my teammates who pushed, who defended with their lives, who saved each and every ball, who made all the tackles and made all the passes that they can. And of course, I was just doing my job as well. So our achievement is basically the team's achievement. It has never really been mine in my eyes.
That's great. So like teamwork makes the dream work, of course. And
Definitely.
we very well know the result of that dream season. You actually won season 81, and to top it off, you even won the MVP award. So actually, you've moved along quite successfully. So well done. And thank you also for representing us and making us proud, being a member of the Azkals development team. So did you pick anything up from your sports journey so far that you're applying in life?
Coming from the culture that my coaches and my former captains exercised in the team, it's definitely knowing when to ask for help. It is difficult to go through life not knowing or not accepting the fact that you're in need of help, basically. And I, as a captain and with the Azkals development team, I wanted to leave my legacy with the younger guys, because I'm kind of the older one now. I wanted to leave my legacy and the culture between the players of the Azkals development team to learn how to communicate with each other and take each opportunity to help each other learn, because that's what we basically are. We're in the development squad. We're still learning. We're still in the process of learning and getting better. So there's nobody else that you can rely on to get the best information than the people you're putting the work in with. And that's the guys to your left, to your right, behind you, and in front of you. That's what I say to the team, that we should be able to communicate in such a way that we're motivating each other, accepting that you need to receive a lot of these comments and need to receive a lot from other people who have their own personal experiences that they can add to your knowledge of the game. I'm maybe the oldest, one of the oldest in the team, but I too receive a lot of help from guys who are 18 and 17-year-olds who have experiences abroad that I don't have, and it's humbling, and it helps me learn as well. So the communication goes both ways, not just the older guy telling off the younger guys.
That's great, man. It shows a couple of things that I've observed from you. Like you're very mature beyond your years, and most importantly, it really shows a lot of maturity from your end. To take reactions, especially coming from younger teammates. I mean, traditionally, that's unheard of, right? You normally start flexing when you start getting older on the lineup or being the captain, right? But I mean, it's very refreshing that even the captain is actually very much open to criticism, as you have mentioned, and open to input to help bring the team forward. So well done.
It motivates. It not just motivates me, but it also motivates the guy, knowing that I can take in what he's learning, because it doesn't feel good when you're trying to help someone out and they're not listening, or they're not taking in the information. At least the way I see it, it's a positive relationship between both parties when criticism or when words come out of someone's mouth in order to help each other and help the game play smoother.
This is like building a culture of growth, right? And this is something that it's a culture that will be brought by the people that you're also leading right now. And you know what, the way to place, you know, the essence of communication. It's like the Knights of the Round Table, you know, King Arthur and the Knights, and you know everyone is equal. And this is how team learning is built upon. You know, this is why this growth culture is given much attention to. This is why it's become successful. And I love how you're able to take on a more leadership role now, where it's very much, and this is something that we've touched upon for the whole time while we're in the podcast. It was never really about just you. It was about something greater than you. Like, it was about the team. So if it's not about you, what motivates you to keep going?
For me, it's always been me doing something with a greater purpose, and I've pushed this idea and this mentality with the guys in the Azkals development team. I've always told them to always look at your passion for football and do it for a greater purpose other than yourselves. And I wasn't part of the finals in the Copa Alcantara Cup because I couldn't play due to my injury, but I was able to speak to the guys. I was able to talk to them right before. And I told them that you're playing for a higher purpose. Champions in general do what they do for a higher purpose, for a greater purpose, not just achieving a gold medal, but it serves a higher purpose. And I've embedded in their minds. I've tried to at least embed in their minds this idea and this legacy that I wanted to leave, especially because they're looking towards having younger players in the development squad. I wanted them to understand, because the Azkals development team was not for a club. You're playing there because we are the next generation. You're basically playing there because you're the next generation of Azkals players. So it was their opportunity to get every experience playing with Coach Scott and playing with the coaching staff and playing with the professional clubs in the Copa Alcantara Cup to do their best. It was their opportunity to gain all the experience that they can in order for them to get better and play for the Philippine national team. So that was kind of why I wanted to tell these guys that you're playing for a higher purpose. It wasn't for your careers, because this is not where you want to be at. I've asked them to kneel down because it's a humbling gesture to kneel down. For me, kneeling down is accepting the fact that there's something greater than yourself, and that's what I wanted to tell them. I wanted to let them understand that you're not here just to play for this club, but to gain experience to play for the national team. And that's basically kind of what I've been learning as a player on my own, my personal journey. That's what I took from it.
You know, I love that you're doing this because you want to play for the nation, you know, for the Philippines, for national pride. And as a Filipino, you know, I don't think there are enough words to thank athletes for that. And also, I love how you said, you know, champions do what they do for this higher purpose. So I kind of want to ask you, kind of want to delve deeper into this. What is that higher purpose for you? Do you do it for your family? What other, you know, what is that higher purpose for you?
Personally, it's always been for me to give a better life to my family, to my mom, who has made a lot of sacrifices for me. I remember, because I started playing football when I was 4, and she'd travel all the way from Laguna just to watch my games, may it be in Pampanga or Malaysia or in Singapore. My mom would be there, and she would travel, and she'd take the time. So basically, they're my higher purpose. They're my motivation. Wow, the photo. Basically, they've been my greater purpose and why I pursue football. And wow, you're gonna make me cry. I haven't seen my mom in a while. She works hard, man. She just, oh my god.
It's actually so sweet. You have, I think the one thing I just want to highlight here is you have great parents. You have an incredible support system. And this is one thing that I think has very much helped you, throughout this podcast. This is something that we've heard, the essence of your support system, how I just want to say, Matt, you have great parents, and you have a great family, and you have a great team.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. And like, it's very evident in the way how you answer questions that you always reference we more than I, right? So that's only a testament to how strong that familial bond is with you. I mean, there's a lot happening in your life right now. Lots of things to look forward to as well with Philippine football, especially since you're hopefully you get called up to the first team. What's next for you though? So what's in the pipeline?
Definitely, my goal has always been to play and push myself to playing as far away as I can. Because as hard as it is to say, we're just not there yet in the country in terms of football. And given that my goal is also to make football as a career and to give my family a better life, I've always wanted to just see how far I can take my football career and see how far I can get playing internationally. So I was blessed with a lot of opportunities and a lot of people's help, with a lot of help from the people around the football community to get me into an opportunity to play abroad. So that's basically what I plan to do in the coming weeks, to be able to fly out and start living my dream, living my family's dream, being able to bear the fruits that my family basically helped me achieve.
No, I love how you're very focused on your goal right now. I love that I would say laser focused on that. And
it's a lot easier now without academics.
Oh, actually, yeah. Congratulations.
I graduated, so it's a lot easier not to focus.
And congratulations on your graduation, by the way. I think we have to put it out there. So yeah, I think so there's this focus now, and you don't have to. There's not really much in terms of academics that you have to give up for football. Now you have that focus on football, and we have talked about so many great things here. And what I got here is definitely playing for something greater than yourself. You have to recognize that, and you mentioned this a while ago, Harvey, to kneel down. It's a humbling experience to realize that there's so much going on around the world, and it's important for you to do that. Again, just underscoring this: champions do what they do for a higher purpose. Also, I loved how you mentioned the culture of growth, and this building up this culture. You also take this into ideas of leadership. When you lead a group of people, you have to realize how important it is to listen and to communicate. And this is definitely something that I got throughout this.
Solid analysis so far, Zandy. So maybe let's also hear it from Harvey himself. No? So lots of sharing tonight. But for you, if we were to summarize what we can share our audience in the form of tips, right? So what would your tips be for our young audience also who may or may not be within sports? How could you share your life lessons along with them?
So it basically begins by having a goal, setting a goal for you, may it be in the arts, culinary, or a different sport. It's basically by starting to have a goal set for you, and then make sure that what you do is in service of that goal. And in doing so, the process, you will definitely experience a lot of setbacks. These are learning experiences basically, and just choosing not to settle, having that passion for your goal, drive you towards overcoming these setbacks is a learning experience. It will help you get stronger. Basically, what the song says: "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Right? So, yeah, that's basically it. And it's not ever settling. And what I've always pointed out with the younger guys is doing everything for a higher purpose, knowing that you're doing something for a greater purpose other than yourself. it will help you push past your limits, because there are times when you feel like giving up, or when you feel like this is it, where the line ends basically. But having that extra motivation, knowing that whatever factor that it may be, bigger than yourself, will definitely pull you through it, will definitely push you towards surpassing those limits.
Well said, right? So let's hear it again from Jarvey, the top tips for overcoming limitations. He said, number one, have a goal. Number two, never settle. And most importantly, play for something bigger than yourself. So well said, Jarvey.
I love that. I'm gonna keep that. Like, if I can tattoo that on my forehead, I would. But yeah, you know what they say: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that's definitely something that we've embraced very much in this podcast. And there you have it. You know, we've had these 3 tips now, very neatly placed with little nuggets of wisdom. But you know, we're not done yet, because it's time for our next segment, something we call crunch time. So Jarvey, we are going to throw you some questions, and you're going to have to answer them as fast as you can. No need to explain, unless of course we ask. All right.
But before we begin,
relax.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we begin, and before Zandy tattoos that on her forehead, we would like to remind everyone listening right now to be sure to like our social media pages, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify at the Gold Diggers PH. So Jarvey and Zandy, are you guys ready?
Born ready.
Let's do
All
this.
right, let's do this. Timer starts now. Okay, offense or defense?
Offense.
Technique or speed?
Speed.
Green or blue?
Blue.
Forward or backward?
Forward.
Favorite skill?
Favorite skill? Okay. I don't know. Running, sprinting.
Pre-game ritual?
Listening to Jurassic Park theme song.
That's interesting. MVP award or team championship?
Team championship, any day.
All right. Score an own goal or miss a penalty in a title match?
Miss a penalty, because we can still win. Well, we can still win with the own goal, but miss a penalty.
All right. Win the Champions League or win the World Cup?
World Cup.
All right. Favorite football club?
Chelsea.
Football GOAT?
Messi.
Well said. So favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? Blindside.
Oh, interesting.
Beauty, brains, or brawn?
Brains.
Love life or career?
Career.
Nutmeg or nutsack?
Nutmeg.
All right. Genshin Impact or Pokemon?
Pokemon. Any day.
All right, I think the time is up, but we still have time for one last question. Jarvey, what is your life motto?
Oh, I put that in my yearbook. I can't remember. But I'd like to say that my life motto is play for something bigger than yourself. That's my life motto from this day on. It's not going to change
I
anymore.
love that. So it's easy now because I don't have to tattoo another line on my forehead. But yeah, that's it, guys, for Crunch Time. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We have now come to the end of the episode for final messages. Jarvey, do you have anything that you would like to share and say to our listeners?
So I'd like to thank the Gold Diggers for having me on here and speak about my story and my career. It was fun for me to be able to share my experiences and my downfalls. I think it's a lot. It's very refreshing to be able to speak about the side of my story that not a lot of people get to know about. And I'd like to thank the audience also for tuning into the channel and watching. Please like, subscribe, and support also.
Thank you very much, Jarvey. Good head on your shoulders right there. So we really appreciate the inspiring words and the top tips that you shared with our audience. And that's it for this episode, teammates. Thank you. And if you enjoyed our content, there's more where this came from. Catch up on all our past episodes on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. And please feel free to send us your suggestions for our following season. Be sure to like, follow, and share, and subscribe on all of our pages.
Again, there you have it. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. Catch us on the next season of the Gold Diggers Youth, where your gain is our game.